Right. Good evening. Today we are starting off with the relationship among the portfolio management, program management, management, and the organizational project management. Yesterday we had some little talk on it, and Shahan was not online, and we did discuss some of the points. But we thought that we will have to start it right from here again. So I will take on this topic. We will have to talk about what is the program and portfolio management first and establish its linkage with the organization and where project and program and portfolio are located within the organization and how does they relate to the strategic planning. And lastly, in the last topic, we will talk about the project management office. So as far as the concept of projects, programs and portfolios is concerned, I would say that project management, although we have only talked so far about project management and we understand that we do projects to bring certain kinds of changes in the organization, and those changes are brought in such a way that projects remain aligned with the objectives of the organization, the strategic objectives, and only then project will actually be able to benefit the organization. If project is doing something and it is not aligned with the organization, maybe the output, the deliverable of the project is very good, but it is no good for the organization. Therefore, everything we do in an organization, whether it is a project work or operational work, that has to be in alignment with the overall goal of the organization. We did talk about yesterday on the need for organizational strategy. Your organization must have some kind of strategy, and behind that strategy there must be an organizational vision. Vision is where you want to see your organization in a couple of years. Now, in what do you mean by in a couple of years? That is not something like next year or next to next year. This is something big, naturally depending upon the size of organization and its complexity. But generally speaking, this could be 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 years of vision in which you contemplate where you want to lead your organization. And naturally, once you are leading your organization somewhere, that actually establishes your layout of the strategy, how you will get there. Naturally, we have to see where we are now and where we want to be, say, after 25 years. So what is the gap and how should we take actions to ultimately, naturally it's going to be in phases or some kind of stages where we will develop those capabilities and ultimately we will become that kind of, according to the vision, we will reach that destination and the to be state will be achieved. And this to be state is also called expected future state. So what is your current state or as is state? As is state is your current status where your organization stands today. And naturally, you have to dream to take your organization ahead. So all this what I'm talking about is not about project management. It is about organizational strategy. So first, we must have a vision. Then to achieve that vision, we maintain our direction, and in that direction, all the efforts of the organization have to be aligned. No matter it is operational effort, it is project effort, program, portfolio, whatever is happening in the organization must all be aligned with the organizational strategy. That is exactly why we mention this time and again, that your project must be aligned with the organizational strategy. So the next thing is, when you want to take your organization to a new destination, then naturally your existing systems may not work in the new environment. Say after 25 years, what you want to be, right now your systems which are existing may not be able to support the environment of 25 years later. Therefore, it is necessary that we change our systems in this process. So there could be many reasons. There's one reason I have just shown you, that your vision tells you that this is the direction you have to take, and naturally you have a long-term plan to break out in that fashion, ultimately reach that destination. There would be many other environmental factors also imposing their restrictions on you and telling you to change. There will be your customer who would be telling you that they need a product in a different format. Maybe the organizational system of the organization is itself to be changed, because maybe everything is technically so advanced that you have to, come to that level no matter how well your business is running. But if everyone else has adopted automation then and robotics and all that, and you are not doing that, you will ultimately remain behind. So whether you need it or not, you have to keep with pace of technology. So all these different factors, internal and external, they will force you to change. So the organization itself, the operation of the organization, that is quite rigid. That is bound by your standard operating procedures. And your standard operating procedures are the kind of law according to which you behave in your organization. All the work you do, how you perform your roles and responsibilities, what are the various policies, procedures and processes, this all is actually part of your SOP. And anyone who is not following that is actually committing a kind of a crime from organizational point of view, and that person can be punished. Now the next point is, when we try to change our operation, our running system, there is a lot of difficulty. There is a rather impossibility, because SOPs are so cast in stone that you can't just keep making changes to your operations on the run. Because if you try to change your operations on the run, there will be a lot of confusion. And you see, operations are like people. Operations cannot be bent or broken. They cannot be bent, but they can be broken. You see, they're not so flexible that you will just twist them into a new shape and then you start behaving it that way. Your system is running according to that SOP, and a small little thing which has to change may have far-reaching effects. That has to be tested by somebody. If I change this process, how will it affect the overall production or operation of the organization? And without taking into account all those things, we cannot bring a change in an organization. Now, as we do things in our organizations, ad hoc decision makings, you simply don't care about SOPs, you give decisions on the run. Ultimately, your organization suffers. There is a lot of confusion amongst the ranks, and people do not really understand what is really happening and what is the SOP. Probably I gave you an example of a business process reengineering project with NHA, and in NHA, they were completely lost. They were unable to tell us what they were doing and why they were doing it. And because they did not know what they are doing and how they should have been doing it, so when I asked them, what is your current system? They said it is top secret. We can't share it with you. So if that is a top secret and you can't share it with the consultant, then how will he advise you? They said, okay, we have got books and rule books. You go and consult them and you will find how we work. So we did that. We went through all of their rules and regulations, procedures, financial, otherwise, procurement, the whole organization. We did go through the whole thing and we reduced it to a process flow chart that they do this, and if they want this permission, this person requests it and that person, it was a complete process flow, and that was supposed to be the as is status, a current status, how this organization works right now. Because we were told that they claimed that we work according to this book. So we made it. Before we could move any further, I went back to them and told them that we need to check certain items here practically, and you have to allow us to look into your systems and cross-check if this is how the things are happening or we are just imagining things. Once we saw the systems, they were not at all following the processes or the SOPs. Those processes, rules, SOPs, everything was in the books, and nobody ever knew in that organization where those books are lying. What to talk about following them? None of the people knew what is the procedure. And everyone, every department had their own head, and that in charge had his own policy. He would devise his own way of thinking, and that's how he was running that department, and the whole organization was run on this ad hoc model, and therefore their as is was non-existent. So because that was a business process reengineering project, when I found that, I told them that you do not need business process reengineering. You need to follow your SOPs. If you can follow your SOPs, your system will by itself improve. Because right now you are ad hoc. If at all you can reach that level, what the book says, and you start following it, only then can we start conceiving where you should be and what should be your vision and what is your vision. And this is again a question when we asked the chairman, what is your vision? And he was at a loss of telling us because he did not have a vision. I mean, it's not the vision of the chairman, it's a vision of NHA. NHA did not have a vision. So when we asked him, he said, okay, we'll tell you tomorrow. And then he got together with some of his senior people, and ultimately next day he was able to give us a vision. But the question again remains, if there was already a vision, chairman of an organization does not know it, how is it possible? Vision is something which everyone in the organization must know and remember. That's why vision has to be in very simplistic terms. It should not be difficult English and long paragraphs. It should be just a sentence or a couple of sentences in a layman language which even a sweeper can remember that this is my organization's vision. So if chairman does not know the vision, that means nobody knows it. Secondly, if he did not have a vision, how can a vision be created in one night? Again, nobody knows about what they created in a closed door room. Therefore, that vision was a useless thing, and that had absolutely nothing to do with what they were doing. They were not acting upon that vision. They were acting upon something, orders coming from here and there, and whatever hukam sarkar ka, they were doing that. And naturally, there is no body analyzing the whole thing. If Prime Minister gives an order, who is analyzing the impact of that decision? Nobody is there. We have got economists and this and that, but this is all bullshit. These economists and these analysts are there just to defend and justify what the top man has said. So they launch onto a mission to prove it right. That's it. So independent analysis is not being done. So naturally, organization did not have all those things. Now, why I'm talking about all these things is that in your organization, there should be a strategic management going on. And this is the job of the strategic management. You hire people for organizational strategy. You do have people there. Although this is a responsibility of the top management, but to assist top management because they may not know the strategic management and analysis thing. So maybe they need to have experts sitting down there. And for that matter, most of the organizations do have experts sitting there, but they don't work, or they don't want them to work. Um, I think few years back, there was a advertisement in newspapers from NHA, and that said, we want a program manager and we want a PMO in charge, and it's a good salary and everything. I checked up how are they, uh, able to even conceive these positions are needed. They are very much needed. How could they conceive it? Who told them? I was told that these positions were created for a general who just retired from army engineers. And to accommodate him, these two positions are created, and actually both of these positions will be taken over by him alone. So it is preconceived, and somebody dug out the material from internet or whatever and created those positions for him. So this is pathetic. This is not how the things should be working. There should be impartial kind of a thing going on, and somebody should have this analysis and done. I have offered many times to Planning Commission, to NHA, and many other organizations that I can help you in thinking over and making your strategies click, and then you can start working on that. But you see, they don't want to do it just because they know that they will not follow it. They don't want to follow it because the orders would be coming from outside, and nobody is vocal enough to stop there and tell the other person that, sir, this is not our strategy, this is not our vision, we are not going according to the vision. The Prime Minister can only indicate to them change in vision or strategy. He cannot dictate, ye sadak bana do. This is absolute nonsense. How can Prime Minister be, is he himself the chairman, or he is a road expert, or what the hell he is? He is just a leader, a political leader who has absolutely no knowledge about all these things. We have been seeing throughout the life of the country that all the prime ministers or whatever the head of the states have been coming, they have been having this, ad hoc ordering, ad hoc actions they take. And that is just to make themselves prominent in certain areas. So probably that is one of the reasons, but I am absolutely sure of this thing, that if there is one person, one organization, one chairman who stands up in the interest of the nation, in interest of his organization, and says that this is not our vision. I'm not saying that he should be a rebellious guy. He should be defending his organization, and he should say, sir, I will look into the vision, we will revise the vision, we will revise the whole strategy. That is external factor. Prime Minister is an external factor, and he is causing your strategy to change. He is welcome. We can work on that. But why is he telling you that you should construct a road from here to there? Who is he to do that? And what qualifications does he have? So that is the point, that the strategy of the organization, and the interesting part is, and for that matter, the worst part is, chairmen of these organizations always are placed by the Prime Minister on his behest to fight his battle. So they are not interested. And they are the most incompetent people in whole wide world. They would not know what this NHA means. ऐसे लोग भी हैं जिनको ये भी नहीं पता होगा कि ये मुकम्मल किस चीज का, and they are enjoying the perks and privileges up there, and the next year the members and DGs and all that, जितना level नीचे होता जाएगा उतने वो लोग थोड़ा थोड़ा जानते होंगे, and the person actually holding the fort is the lowest person. उसके कंधों पे सारा बोझ है organization में. Anyways, so if I'm assuming assuming that this is a good organization, a mature organization, having a vision, having a state-of-the-art SOPs, advanced methods of doing the things, but still they do understand and realize that over the next 25 years, we will have to change. Although whatever the processes they have, I'm assuming that they are current, they are good, they are wonderful. So this is the best organization, all right. But if it does not improve, it will never remain the best organization, and ultimately they will be left behind and ultimately out of business. So for next 25 years, they have to aim and target what is their aim. They have to find where we want to stand. That would be their vision. And accordingly, they will redesign the whole strategy. But this should be done while the operations keep happening as they were happening. We don't want to stop the operation. And this, these changes we bring in the organization, there's a big thing we call the organizational change management is a big subject. You might have studied it somewhere as well. That tells you how to convince people, how to analyze the change and do things like that. But interestingly, I can see a very clear link between organization, change management, and the projects and all that. The means of realizing that change would be through a project. And project is not the only thing. Actually, project has got its own small little world within the organization, and that is, we usually call it, or we recently started calling it, organizational project management. And that will conceive a complete hierarchy of things. Projects being at the lowest level, then at the upper level is program, and then further upper level is portfolio management. And this all is glued together with certain organizational enabling processes, meaning there are those operational or organizational processes which are required to, glue them together into a whole of organizational project management. So this is the change mechanism. I'm not saying the need for change is someone else's business, but once a need has been realized to bring the change, you have to hand over this issue to this organizational project management. So this sphere should exist within the organization. Now, who is the person who imagines what to change and how to change? That is yet another role, and that is the role of a business analyst. And on top of him is somebody like a strategic manager. So these are the guys working in operational level for strategy and for conceiving new ideas and things like that, and conducting the business cases for that. Any idea which is proven feasible at organizational level and is approved by the top management, that comes as a project or program into the organizational project management sphere. Within organizational project management, we have, as I said, uh, all these disciplines existing: project management, program management, portfolio management, and naturally the organizational enabling practices. You mean to say that considering a big organization, right, the direction in which the organization should be moving, right, in the long term over the period of like 10 to 15 years, exactly, is conceived by some top management, top level management, and once it has been conceived that this is going to be the direction of the organization, right, then there has to be a whole bunch of people, exactly, to incarnate that particular vision into reality, into the organization, by utilizing the seats like project management, program management, and portfolio management, right, and organizational enabling practices. Exactly, exactly. These are all blend together, yes, to create the vision into reality. Yes, this is a tool of change. This is a tool. But there was another thing I said, that under the top level management, there is a group of people sitting, or analysts and strategic managers.
Strategic managers and business
those will help that decision and realize these, change related feasibilities they will do. That these feasibilities is their business. And they, with them, the most closely related thing from here, just under them is hooked the portfolio manager. Top level management on top. Then we have got the analyst, group, strategic and business analyst, and they are back to back connected with the portfolio management. Because portfolio management also is responsible for business cases. This takes up those business cases which are viable, and then it sees it from the financial investment point of view on maybe, all these viable business cases have been sent to portfolio, and portfolio then does its own analysis and sees how much money do I have and which are the initiatives which could be started. And those initiatives could be projects or could be programs. So portfolio is responsible for conceiving or for, deciding on the investment decisions. And then it also looks after the projects and programs in a sense that it keeps watching them as if they are being fruitful, they are being viable, and throughout anywhere, if any project or program does not remain viable, the fate of that project or program would again be decided by portfolio. Portfolio can terminate any project or program anytime and without even asking the opinion of the project or program manager. Portfolio is the boss, and portfolio is answerable to the top level manager. So therefore there is a link, a strategic link till portfolio. This is the investment decision making. Now, how are the program and portfolios connected and why? Program and projects.
This business analysis part, is it a staff job?
Yes, of course. Like, you have general staff officers and people like that.
This is a staff job. This is not a line job. The line job is project management, program management, or project portfolio management. This is the line job.
Line job, you can say from the perspective of organizational project management. Otherwise, line job normally is called operations.
Okay.
Line job is operations, functional and all that. That is the normal running of the business. So normal running of the business may run as it is, but we are dealing with change. We are doing some magic. So this magic is done on the sidelines. But there is a connection between operations and this thing. And that is, we get resources from there. We get expertise from there. We get equipment from there. The whole organization does exist. So they help us do it. They sometimes give us the ideas and all that. But we realize those dreams with naturally those resources, our resources hired from elsewhere. And then we deliver our product or deliverable back to them. And that gets into the operation. New SOPs comes into being. And your organization keeps advancing step by step and ultimately towards the vision. So this is the journey we are taking. Yes, Shahana, I'm sorry. I didn't see.
No problem, sir. Good evening and Assalamu alaikum. Yesterday I missed the class, so thank you very much for again rewinding it. What I understood from today's discussion is there will be many projects going on in an organization, and there will be, many of the projects will be handled by project managers. And above them there will be a program manager who will be assisting in line with the organizational strategy, the project managers. And then there might be more than one program manager within an organization, and then those program managers have to report to the portfolio manager, who is responsible for the investment decisions and where the organizational strategy is aligned with the outcome of the projects and all this. I'm not sure where the strategic manager sits in between this hierarchy, sir.
First of all, we so far did not discuss who reports to whom. Actually, you are generally right in saying how the hierarchy is ordered, but the matter of who reports to whom we did not address it so far, and I'll explain it later. The thing which I was trying to explain is that all the change in the organization could only be brought through organizational project management, in which projects are the smallest part, which each are dealing with one change each. So if there is to be change brought in an organization, that would something have to be done in the sphere of organizational project management. But how does a change get into being? How do you create a change? So for that, we have to look up and see what is happening up there. And naturally, we are supposed to understand how our organization runs. Every person, every employee of the organization must have a fairly good idea what is the vision of the organization, where is it heading, how is it heading. It is not a top secret thing. This has to be known to everybody as if he can put his efforts in that direction. When we look inside, we are greatly disappointed because here I hardly find an organization which is working towards some objective. A very simple thing. What is the purpose of Pakistan? Nobody can define it so far. And as the time is passing, we are losing track of it. Somebody says, what they call it, Pakistan ka matlab kya, la ilaha illallah. Chalo, if that was so, are we following that? Okay. If not that, Qaid-e-Azam said, unity, faith, discipline. Was it our purpose? If it was our purpose, are we following it? So these are just slogans. We are not using any one of them, and we have not mandated any one of them as our vision or whatever we want to call it.
So why not take an example of some
organization
which really has, which we can really appreciate that this part was this part was that.
Exactly.
Taking example of Apple in my mind.
Right.
Apple is about just in the past decade has come to be a multi-billion dollar company.
Yeah.
And they initiated this phone business about 10 years ago. And before that, their share was around into 20s or 30s. And today their share value is around at 140s, 150s. And they have grown into about $750 billion company. And they are trying to be the first $1 trillion company in the times to come. So, can we say safely that their top vision, whatever that Steve Jobs or whatever it was, he thought it to be a $1 trillion company or maybe plus $500 billion company in about 10-15 years time.
Sir,
and for that vision,
at that time he could not have conceived. Whatever they have achieved today, they could not have conceived at that point in time. You see, I still remember when 64K memory was invented. Bill Gates is on record saying that this is the ultimate. There can be no bigger memory than this, and now we can do everything with 64K memory. Bill Gates, and they were colleagues, and they had been working together. So just look at the things which are invented today, where we stand today, it could never ever have imagined before. So whatever they could imagine, whatever they could dream, they could fix their vision on that. Maybe like Bill Gates, he said we will only work on the operating system, and we will be the leading company in operating system. When he created Windows, basically Microsoft was Windows, and Apple was basically a hardware station. right? A closed hardware system, which the main policy behind it was that it will be a closed system. We will not let anyone, get into it. So initial systems they had, yeah,
not let anyone to
integrate with it, and exactly. So till today, that thing is sticking. Even their mobiles are one of its kind. Charger is different, everything is different. So you can't really correspond. But over the period of time, the things have evolved. And, naturally, he was only talking about then the hardware of the computer. And later on, the vision was extended. Visions are revised, was extended to new product line of phones and other things, devices, tablets, all that. And tablet and phone was not even a dream at that point in time. They didn't know this will ever happen. So, because this is a very fast-moving industry, extremely fast-moving industry, and that is exactly why in one lifetime these people have gone through many stages, many visions would have changed, many new dreams would have been seen, and altogether there was a technology blast. So when you start your company, you say, okay, I want to do a fast food business. There are many people that are doing a fast food business. How could I be unique? What could be my niche? You say, okay, I will, you have to come up with something creative. Till the time you do not come with something creative, you cannot create a niche. Otherwise, you would be doing something which other people are already doing. So maybe you say, I will, people have done these things. Like, I will provide you an experience to dine in the space or in the air. In air ka to pata hai na aapko. They are having restaurants which are lifted up in the sky. People are hanging from it, a table is there and they are eating from there. They have created a niche. So that kind of thing, you have to come up with something which nobody else is doing. So that is your vision. You create your vision around that, and naturally you border your vision around some certain thing that so far we think that we would not go beyond this boundary. So this is only food business and it's only in air and things like that. Later on, you may revise this vision after say 10 years, 20 years, and you say, no, we have to extend this business and we have to, have a mall also and things like that to extend the whole thing, like Microsoft extended. They started off with the operating system and they landed up with the whole software, line of software, and then they started also creating their own hardware. Many times they have, done joint ventures with many organizations. Anyone who has developed anything good, these big companies buy them, they merge into into Microsoft or whatever, Intel or whatever big companies are, Google and all that. They are merging into them. They are having joint ventures. So they are trying to capitalize that way. Then there is a time comes when there is a lot of load on one organization. They start splitting organization. So these are all strategies just to realize your vision, because you cannot continue doing. No, operation is a very small thing in front of strategy. Today you are defensive, tomorrow you are offensive. The whole mechanism of army will, completely change. The structure will completely change. But this is a strategic decision. So whatever is your strategic decision, according to that, everything else has to align itself. And it takes time. It doesn't just suddenly happen that things have changed. You can't say that tomorrow you start doing it like that. You have to come up with new SOPs. You have to come up with something. That's why whenever a new organizational structure is developed in, defense forces, they first create a structure organization. They don't populate it. And that structure keeps, formulating their mechanisms for a number of years. And when that, has been tested, basically that is a project. Basically, that is a project. You have to raise a new corps in army. So a structure would be placed there, and a corps commander and few more people. This is the top level management who is planning things and all that. So these are right now the project, and this project will certainly be populated and handed over as a core to our, so that kind of thing. So yes, we can take examples from the real life, and there are a lot many, and we can even start from a new business, or we can start from an existing business. Then how the vision can be built. Country is a good example. Why? Because country is the biggest, most functional, well-organized body. Every country is like an organization. It's a huge organization. And every country, if this is properly managed and disciplined, that speaks that everything in the country, all the organizations within the country, everything would be disciplined. Overall governance is coming from the country level. So anyways, like yeah, the vision they created last time, vision 2020 vision था पहले, 2050 हुआ, 2025 पता नहीं क्या है कुछ कहते हैं. So they were trying to create that vision, and being impressed by Malaysia and all that, they said we will be the Asian tigers. No, right? Okay, fine. There is no problem with that. But what is new about it? What have you done? What have you thought? You're just copying someone, and you are basing everything on a copy. But anyways, I still tend to agree. But then the question is, dream to dekh liya na aapne. What else? What now? You have to break your vision. Exactly. And so human resource बाद में आएगा. पहले you have to divide it into long-term objective, mid-term objective, and short-term objective. I know they have done it, but again, there is not done sensibly. They are not achievable goals. I was talking to a CPAC guy, and he said, he was presenting somewhere, and he said, these are our short-term objectives, and we have done this. We will be able to do this by this year, this year, this year. And medium-term project we have also identified, and long-term we are thinking about it. Hold on. Exactly, that's what it is. I said, hold on. When you do not have your long-term objective, how the hell could you come up with your medium-term objective and the short-term objective? How is it possible? No, we are thinking, you do not have any idea what you are doing. It is complete bullshit. You are just, fulfilling the desires of some dear people in short term, and your target is short term. Exactly. Then he said one more thing. He said, CPAC has got these so many projects. And, I was waiting for this statement because they are posing it like the CPAC is everything. There is nothing else going on or should go on in the country. Everything is CPAC. He said, the CPAC is just a part of the Planning Commission, and Planning Commission has got many development projects which are much larger than this. Yes, of course they are, but they are not happening. They are not happening. The only thing which is happening is CPAC. And then what is that big circle? What are those things? Tell me about it. Why are they not happening? And then again, he was not having any answer, because basically they are just defending. वो एक दफा होता ना, किसी ने भौंक दिया कुछ, तो अब सारे उसके हवारी जो है ना उसको डिफेंड करने के चक्कर में वॉल्स, हाँ जी एग्जैक्टली, वॉल्स क्रिएट करते रहते हैं और जस्टिफिकेशंस बनाते रहते हैं. नजर आता है आपको मीडिया में. दैट्स व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. एनीवेज जी, तो खैर ये तो एक डिस्कशन पूरी दूसरी तरफ निकल जाएगी पूरी, मगर ये कि वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दैट this mechanism must exist in your organization, whatever your organization. This vision, clear vision, direction, goals, and goals, as I said, long term, medium term, and short term. And from country perspective, it is very easy to conceive. If you are making a 50 or 25 years plan, then this is 25 years is your long-term plan to be a Asian tiger, and break it down to your 5 years plans as is normal in a country. कौन सा वाला plan जो होता है 5-year plan, and you have got 25 years, so that means एशियन टाइगर की टांग तो बना लो 5 साल में, फिर अगला पार्ट बनाना, फिर अगला पार्ट बनाना. It has to be phased. So are you successful in first 5 years in doing whatever you aimed for? If you did not, आपको medium term target ही नहीं पूरा हुआ, how are you going to meet your vision? Then probably the vision has to be revised, or your plans have to be revised. Now this medium is to be divided into small term, and small term is normally from country point of view is yearly. That's what the planning commission is doing. All these things are the subject of planning commission. And that 1-year plan is exactly in accordance with the 5-year plan, and those 5-year accomplishments are divided into 5 years. So you will be given that you will do in this year, we have to do this. Now tell me, if you have got this vision, you are such a great people, you have got long-term, short-term and all that, where are they? From where this CPEC thing came in? Whenever some international body wants to donate you something, suddenly that project, how does it get approved and get into the list? Is it in country priority? If they are giving money to you for the poor people or something like that, you were sleeping. Were you not considering the poor people? Why are you taking donations from them? And if at all you are taking donations, then you must align them with your whatever long-term, short-term. You must fit it into that. They do not fit it into that. They start the projects on donation base without any concern for the people, just to get the donation and eat up their share. जैसे मैंने शायद पहले भी बताया था, 500 schools were constructed on donation, fully constructed. They went happy. They said, okay, our job is done. We have donated. We have given you schools. These are the schools. Opening करा दी, चले गए. Now, who is responsible for these schools? Our education department, our education ministry do not own them. And they say, उन्होंने बनाए वही चलाएंगे. We don't have funds to run this. Got the job. So what happens to those schools? ऐसे बात है उसके अंदर आप ना टीचर जाएगा ना स्टूडेंट जाएगा, कहाँ जाएगा? सिस्टम तो चल ही नहीं रहा. वो तो दिखाने के लिए एक सिस्टम बनाया गया था 4 दिन के लिए, and they went back and everything is gone. But rather, I would give you an example. My wife was working in one of these kind of NGOs, and they said we are creating this many schools and that, and they were very religiously working. They actually were accomplishing all their targets, and they went to all those schools, the proper school classes, uniform, everything, and proper things were happening. And one day they had a surprise visit. Trust me, there was nothing, not even walls. It was a plain ground. Nothing was there. ये सर चोर nation है. Nothing was there. And then when it was reported, they fixed another date and everything was there. You imagine that this is how the things are happening in this country. So till that time, we are very happy to take loans and donations. There is no problem in it. You do take loans and donations if you have a plan to repay, do all that, and also align that with your strategy. Only then you will achieve the vision or target direction ka. You will only be able to achieve that if everything being done in the organization is in alignment with the vision and the objectives. तभी होगा ना ये. So, in your organization, if it is operation, if it is the project management, program management, portfolio, everything, each and every step you take, you have to ensure that it is aligned with the organization strategy. And if it is not feasible. So the feasibility of every action is dependent on the objective. That's how you tie up everything, and that's how your vision drags you along. You follow it, it drags you along, and no actions are taken here and there. No redundant activities or redundant project or redundant operations are being done. Because as soon as any redundancy exists, it will be immediately caught and should be thrown out. यहाँ पे तो हालत ये है कि redundancy हमारी human resource में redundancy है. मतलब why did PIA fail? Why did railway fail? Why did steel fail? This is all due to the redundancy of human resource. अब बंदे ढूंढे हुए हैं और बस फिर फंस गए हम. So these are the problems. और organizational level के ऊपर we do expect, not a public organization, आप private organization की बात कर लें. In a private organization, we expect that the person sitting on top is there to make profits, and therefore he would not let anything like this happen. And probably if it is a good organization, that would show maturity, and if they really want to excel and make more profits in future, probably they should, listen to this. But so far I have not seen anything going on here in this perspective. Okay, coming back to, you have understood what the OPM is. So if we can formulate these things, and if we have got procedures for project, program, portfolio, organization enabling practices, and we follow them consistently and predictably, they will deliver the organizational strategy, producing better performance, naturally better performance, better results, and a sustainable competitive advantage. You will be competitive to your, counterparts. The competitive advantage, why, फिर वही बात आ जाती है, why are we failing in everything? As a nation, as a country, as an organization, as a department, everything we are far behind. We are not being competitive. We are not performing at all. What to talk about better performance, better result, and sustainable competitive. If you have taken an edge one time, then you have to maintain that edge. You have to take the lead. That is a competitive advantage, and that should be sustainable. It's not that you won a match in one series and then for the next 5-10 years you have not won it. You had to maintain that status which you achieved once. Then you will be called sustainable competitive advantage. Okay. Am I stuck? जी शाखान, कुछ समझ आ रही है?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. Now, talking about project programs and portfolios, only in mature organizations, project management is governed by programs and portfolios. Once you will read from the book, you won't understand these things as I'm explaining, because the words of book are just what is written on the slide, and that probably can be interpreted in million other ways. But the thing about vision and all that, this is not given in book anywhere. Moreover, if you read this, it says in mature organizations, project management is governed by programs and portfolio management. That essentially means what Shahan, you were saying earlier. You exactly were saying this, but the meaning could be interpreted that project reports to program, program reports to portfolio, always and every time. That is not true. So we will see how they are governed by program and portfolio. Then organizational strategies and their priorities, and organizational strategic plan. These are the three things we have to consider for their relationships. Organizational planning has to be done, which impacts the project by means of project prioritization. Now, organization has the power to address any project and terminate any project, start any project. Therefore, somebody sitting up there is taking account of whatever is happening in the project. And whichever project is not being suitable anymore is being terminated, and new projects are being introduced. Those projects which are more important are given funding, others may be put on hold. Who is doing all that? This is called prioritization. And essentially speaking, this is on behalf of the senior management. This is being done by the portfolio manager. It is job of the portfolio manager. So, impacts projects by means of project prioritization, directs funding and support for component projects on the basis of risk categories, specific lines of business, general types of project. This is how they prioritize. This is how they prioritize. Which is the most riskiest of the project. Naturally, I don't want to get involved in a project which is full of risks. So the least riskiest project I would consider maybe, and which is the project which supports the existing lines of business and we can quickly make use of that. Probably I would go for that. General types of projects. What are the general types of projects in our organization and the operations which tally with them? That would be preferred. So there could be many things, but one thing is established, that there is a need for project prioritization from strategic point of view. And that is exactly what you will learn, that this is exactly the portfolio management. Portfolio, program and project management are aligned with, are driven by the organizational strategies. This is well explained already. But they differ in the way each contribute to the achievement of the strategic goals. Now, because I have already talked a bit about what these things are, the top strategy is linked down there. Now let me explain two more things, and that will be apparent in the definitions also that we discussed yesterday also. What is a project? We said it is a temporary endeavor and it is undertaken to do what? It is undertaken to produce some deliverable as a product, service, or result. And remember, this is all about a project. Project delivers a deliverable. You may do a lot of analysis and this and that. You must learn the strategy, how we are joined to that. But your sphere of action is the project. Anything beyond the project, you can't act. And project just has to produce a deliverable, which could be product, service, or result. Therefore, project is creation, construction of a school, is making a chair, is making a new process in the organization. So anything could be a project, but how this project came into being, what purpose is it fulfilling, right? I am building a chair, but why am I building a chair? Yes, I did look at it and I know that this chair is being built for the CEO of the organization as if he can sit and perform the strategic objectives better. So fine, that is okay with me. But as soon as I understand the link of the strategic objective, I am comfortable. So I don't think much on that anymore. Although I keep the strategic alignment, I keep checking the strategic alignment throughout the life of the project as a project manager. But my purpose is only to deliver that deliverable. So I am looking at everything just for the purpose of building a chair. Okay. But once the chair will be built or whatever the deliverable of my project is, that deliverable was not required. The benefit which will yield out of that deliverable, that chair will serve for next 5 years and we will not have to spend money on the maintenance or buying a new chair or whatever. So there must be some benefit beyond the creation of chair, and that benefit would be extended over time, and that will be beneficial for that much time. So somebody has to keep a watch. First, the benefit, has the benefit been realized? Secondly, and when do the benefit gets realized? Not at the end of the delivery. Not at the end of the project when the deliverable is delivered. When the chair is delivered, what is the benefit which has been realized? Nobody has ever sat on that chair so far. We say on this chair you can sit for 20,000 hours. Like, photostat machines are, this can, photocopy 1 lakh copies or 10 lakh copies. So that is the life of that. Similarly, this is the life. This is the benefit we want to yield. So this chair has to be monitored for next 5 years as if it yields its benefits or not. And only when the benefit is realized, then the benefit will be fully transferred to the organization. But project has finished 5 years before. I have not talked about program. I'm just talking about project. Every project deliverable is basically contributing to some benefit to the organization. It must. If it does not, then it is not aligned with the organization. It must deliver. And we do not talk about the benefits in project management because benefits are beyond project. Project manager is only focusing all his energies on the deliverable, on creating the deliverable. Right? So, if Prime Minister of Pakistan orders that there should be a school constructed in this village, so what he is doing is, he is not following the whole chain. He maybe genuinely realized that this is a need of the people and this should be done on priority. Maybe the education program would ultimately have done it, but he sees that this is more important and he tells them that this is my pet project and you start that. Okay, that case, they are responsible to create the benefit out of it. They have to analyze the thing. कर लेंगे। जी शाह खान, यहाँ तक बात चल रही है? Anything?
Yes sir, correct, ठीक है.
Okay. So this is important to understand. जो हम बात कर रहे हैं ना प्रोजेक्ट प्रोग्राम की, तो प्रोजेक्ट जो है that is only giving you the deliverable. And once it delivers a deliverable, so whomsoever ordered it, whomsoever is a customer or whatever, he will be handed over that deliverable. And now the responsibility of realizing the benefit out of it is with that person. You understand my point? Project manager is not responsible. Got it? Right. Let us say my project is to construct a school. I gather all the requirements. I deal with all the sponsors and everything and stakeholders, and ultimately I take 2 years in construction of this school, and exactly according to the requirements I created. And even before I started, I checked for the strategic alignment and it was okay. And throughout the project life cycle, I kept checking wherever I am getting out of alignment or the strategies have changed or not. And I have delivered the school at the end of the day. I have built the school. My project is done as soon as I hand over my deliverable, this school, to the requisite department. Now it is supposed to go into operation. My job is done, project is finished, I will go home, my team will go home, and there will be nothing left at site. No assets can exist after the project has been finished. So if the project has been finished, who is responsible to realize the benefit? It is now the person who has taken over. The operations will now create their SOPs accordingly. How will they manage it? And then they will run it, and for next 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, we will keep monitoring the progress of that deliverable. Whether the school has been, sent the teachers, how many students are coming, they are being analyzed and all that. This is how the benefits are related. Projects, if you do the projects, then this is no guarantee that you have served. Project manager has served, all right. Project manager's duty is done. But then who ordered this project, he has to then use it in something, and effective usage of that can only be done if you have a plan, and then the benefit will be realized. So one thing has been established, that no matter if a project is independent of everything, it is not part of a program. That is, Shahan, I was trying to say, all the projects are not part of program. There are projects which are completely independent, but then they have to be aligned with the organizational strategy, and the responsibility of delivering those benefits or realizing those benefits would then lie with the person ordering it. Okay, so we have established that a project can only deliver deliverables, product, service, or result. What is a program? What is a program? Ji Shahan.
As far as I understand, sir, a group of projects within an organization form a program.
Okay, I have 3 projects going on. One is a thermal project, one is construction of a dam, and one is probably a tank being built for army. I put them into a program. How will it function?
I think in that case, the organizational strategy is not aligned, because one is defense purpose, other is power generation, and the third is for what you said. It's also some construction work.
Yeah.
So that's where I see a difference in the alignment of this strategy.
Okay, no, it is not the problem with the strategy. It's problem with the program itself. Program has to be having the projects within a program have to be related. Number one,
Correct.
they have to be related, they have to be coordinated and interconnected, right? And this is not sufficient. Even this is not sufficient. All the projects must be aligned with what?
Organizational strategy or the program strategy.
Program strategy is the right answer. The projects within the program are the responsibility of the program, and all the projects must align themselves with the program strategy. Now, what is the program strategy and from where this has come? This is a sub part of the organizational strategy. One of the organizational strategies has been given down to the program manager, and he has been told that we don't know what you do, whether you make a school or a dam or whatever, we don't know. We are just telling you a target to meet, and that target is raise the education level of this region of area from this point to that point, and you have got 5 years or 10 years for that matter. So in that 10 years, program manager will plan, how will I do it? Which are the various projects which I do, and those deliverables will contribute towards the benefit which I have to produce. The benefit is raising the education level. This is the benefit. This benefit has to be realized if the program has to be successful. Program will only be declared successful after you have met the target. No matter how many projects you do, no matter what they deliver, deliverable is not the question. But whatever they deliver must be contributing to the benefit realization, and all projects within the program have to be aligned with the portfolio strategy and objectives. And portfolio is to, not portfolio, what I said. Everything has to be aligned with the program strategy. Program strategy and objectives. And program has to be aligned with the organizational strategy, not the portfolio strategy. That is important. Portfolio strategy is completely a different ball game. Portfolio also has a strategy, but that is an investment decision making strategy. That has absolutely nothing to do with the benefit realization or the deliverable. It is just, kind of maintaining a balance between all the projects and programs. And when I say projects and programs, that means independent projects and programs, because all the projects which are included in a program are not addressed directly by the portfolio. So portfolio is maintaining the programs, all the programs of the organization and all the independent projects of the organization. So he keeps a balance amongst them. He prioritizes them. He gives funding to them, makes investment decisions. He can kill a project, terminate a project, or he can give birth to a new project. He can postpone a project. And at the same time, if somebody thinks that every program manager and project manager and program manager is answerable to portfolio, classically, no. It is not necessary for every project manager and every program manager to be answerable to or regularly reporting to the portfolio, because portfolio is not really interested in your daily reports. He is only interested in a high level detail, and that is for portfolio balancing, prioritization and decisions about the program and projects. As if he can make those decisions. So he does not need your progress report. He may be asking you certain specific KPIs or certain reports based on which he would decide the fate of projects and programs. But every independent project and every program has to be aligned with the organizational strategy, although portfolio also has the responsibility to check this alignment from investment point of view and ensure that all the projects and programs remain in alignment. And if any one of those does not remain in alignment, that should immediately be thrown out of the portfolio.
The project manager is responsible for reporting to the program manager
if he is under a program manager.
If at all.
If the project is under a program manager.
The program
project can exist independently also.
Independently also, but if the project is within the program, then the program manager could be the reporting boss for the project manager.
Is called sponsor. Project manager always will report to his sponsor. In an independent scenario, his boss is the project sponsor. In this case, when he is part of a program, his boss is the program manager, so his project sponsor is program manager.
So he will be reporting.
Exactly. And every program will have a program sponsor. Program manager would be reporting to program manager.
Program manager would be reporting to his sponsor.
To program manager, to the program sponsor.
The program sponsor, and program sponsor would be?
Program sponsor and project sponsors, independent project sponsors, they all will be reporting directly to the senior manager.
And not to the portfolio
manager? Not necessarily. It depends upon the role of delegation, but generally speaking, they are supposed to be directly talking to the CEO, and they can come in communication with portfolio if desired, if required. It might be possible that senior management has isolated themselves completely from the OPM affairs, organizational project management affairs, and they make portfolio management all powerful, that everybody should report and talk to him. We don't want to talk to everybody. So in that case, yes, it will be the portfolio manager who will be listening to them, but generally speaking, this is not a must. So we have to explore all the possibilities, what all can happen. So now you understand what is a portfolio and what does it do, what is a program, what is a project. And when I say project, I'm talking about an independent project. When I say project in a program, that is the project within the program. So they differ in the way each contributes to the achievement of the strategic goal. And how do they contribute? आप जब खुद ही बता दें. Project contributes by by producing the deliverable. Program contributes by
giving the
benefit realization, by realizing the benefits, and portfolio benefits by
creating a value to the portfolio or
investment decision making,
investment decision.
helping in investment decision making. So these are the keys. Now you read the definitions. Trust me, you will have a completely different view. If you would have directly read it from the book, I can assure you, you would never be able to conceive what it really wants to say. Anyways, I'll come to the definition, but let's talk about the strategic alignment of each and every one of these. Portfolio management aligns with the organization strategy by selecting the right programs or projects, prioritizing the work, and providing the needed resources. This is how a portfolio aligns with the organization strategy. So, what is it? It aligns with the organization strategy by selecting the right program. Its duty is to select the right programs and projects to be done. Investment decision making. Number two, prioritizing those projects. Number three, providing the needing resources, enabling them, ensuring that they are provided the requisite resources. Because you see, there is a blue-eyed project, and you have started it a lot of expectations, and then you have left it to the dogs. Nobody is providing resources and this and that. So portfolio manager will ensure, is responsible to make the resources available for the projects and programs which are on that priority. And priority is set by portfolio. Program management harmonizes its projects and program component. Now this is interesting. It is saying projects and program component. When I say projects, these are the projects of the program, not the independent projects. We are talking about the projects within the program. So it harmonizes its project and program component. That essentially means that there is something else than the projects also running in a program. Let's say there are 20 projects running in the program. What is binding them together? Like we had in OPM, Organizational Project Management, we said organizational enabling factors are glue which put it all together. Similarly, in a program, coordinating between all these 20 projects, there has to be a mechanism. There has to be staff required. There has to be an organization structure required. There has to be certain performances. A project will deliver a deliverable. How to convert this deliverable into benefit? How to give it, hand it over to the customer? How will it transit? Who will fulfill the transit requirement? This might not be part of the project. So all these jobs which are beyond the project or before the project, they are to be performed under the program. The program has its own strategy. So it can't say that, please provide me this and that. He has to be doing within everything remaining within the program strategy. So he is responsible for harmonizes the projects and program components and controls their interdependencies in order to realize specified benefits. It did not say deliverables, specifically benefits. This program is only for benefit. So remember, if somebody asks you what is the difference between projects and programs, then this definition is not right that we say that it is a combination of, even if you say it is a combination of interrelated, intercommunicated projects which are serving the same objective as the project as a higher body. That doesn't even explain the program. This could be a complex project having many sub-projects. If this complex project is delivering a deliverable, it is not a program. Anything which is delivering a deliverable is not a program. Anything which is delivering benefits, that is the program. And project develops and implements plans to achieve a specific scope that is driven by the objectives of the program or portfolio जो उसके ऊपर है, whatever they have told him, it is subject to and ultimately to organizational strategy. So if it is in a hierarchy, project is under a program and answerable to a program, then the first responsibility is to satisfy his boss, and then secondary responsibility is to fulfill the organizational strategy. But you understand that my program strategy is already linked with the organizational strategy, so the secondary purpose is already being fulfilled. So I have to focus on my primary purpose, and that is to align myself, my deliverables and my working with my program, our portfolio, if portfolio has those kinds of power. Organizational project management advances organizational capability by linking projects, programs, and portfolio management principles with organizational enablers. Right? And I said those enablers are to support, they also should be supporting the strategic goals. An organization measures its capabilities, then plans and implements improvements towards the systematic achievement of best practices. Organizations are going for maturity, and maturity is measured through best practices. But standards, as I said before, standards give us good practices. PMP, standard for program management, standard for portfolio management, they just give us good practices. But if you start competing with others and then start measuring your assessment and keep rising high, then you are increasing your maturity. So mature organizations understand that the whole game is project, program, and portfolio. OPM is the whole game. What is included in organizational enablers? That is the structural practices, cultural practices, technological practices, and human resource practices. All of these things are actually being inherited from the operation of the organization. So we do have a structure suggested by the organization, and that may be the same structure advised for the project, program, and OPM. So that those practices will be inherited or created. Cultural practices, then technological, like whatever kind of project we are doing, the core knowledge of those technologies which we are following, and human resource practices, they all will be getting into the this domain of organizational project management for the better facilitation of compilation of project programs and portfolios together. So it is a glue which binds them or links them together. Okay. Can you see this diagram? RS screen?
Yes, sir.
Any? Okay, here I will try to explain to you how this all things work. Okay, in your organization, you could have, every organization could have one main portfolio, which is, I call it highest level portfolio. Now, generally speaking, what should it include? It should include all the independent projects and programs. Is that so? All the independent projects and programs. Now, what we see here, these are all the independent projects. These are all the programs. And it might also be possible that your portfolio is so complex that you have divided to break it down into many smaller portfolios. You have a big organization, you say all the construction projects will have a construction sub-portfolio or IT portfolio, sub-portfolio. So the main portfolio may have a number of sub-portfolios. So in that case, I can say that the top level portfolio will include the lower level portfolios. The program, all the programs, and all the independent projects. So the first layer is clear. Okay, let's go into the higher level program. Higher level program may have even sub-programs. And if it has sub-programs, every sub-program will have its projects. If there is no sub-program, then the program will directly have projects. So whatever the scenario, and it may even be possible that both these combinations exist. You have program which have many sub-programs, and every sub-program has got certain projects going on in it, but there is a project separate from any sub-program directly answerable to the main program. Confused नहीं हुई? जी शाबाश.
My question is not regarding this, sir. The previous slide. Is PMO and OPM same, sir? We will talk later, sir, once you describe this figure.
Okay, okay. No, you can ask me. Let me go back. This one. Organizational enabler.
Yes, sir. Some people call it PMO, and here we cite it's OPM. Is that same? I think it's same as per my understanding.
No. PMO is completely different. We'll talk about PMO. This is the great grandfather of PMO. PMO is a very small little thing.
Okay. Okay. Once we come there, then we will see the difference. As of now,
just remember, organizational project management includes all the portfolios, all the programs, all the projects, and the organizational enablers. All these things put together is OPM, and OPM means organizational project management. This is not a PMO. Right, coming back to the same diagram. Okay, we did talk about a program which can be subdivided into sub-programs, and each sub-program can have its own project, or the main program can have its own projects. The same thing is repeated under a sub-portfolio. Lower level portfolio exactly has the same setup. It can have programs, or programs can have sub-programs. And if there is a sub-program, there will be projects under it. If there is a main program, there is a project under it. So this is very much possible, and this is exactly how this interact. So we do understand that from every main item, this high-level portfolio, the independent projects, and these programs, all these things are linked with the strategy. There is a wire coming down from the strategy and hooking each independent project, hooking each program, and hooking the portfolio. Everything has to be aligned with that. And naturally, why am I not hooking the things under a program? Because then there is a multiple wire going down which is connecting the lower parts of everything to the program, and that is according to the program strategy, because program has its own strategy. That's why. Similarly, a sub-portfolio may have its own strategy, so the same story will go down in that path as well. Right, Ji. If you are clear so far, Shahan?
yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. Now I am ready to give you the definition. So trust me, we just went through a couple of slides. I have not covered a lot of written material as such, but the concepts I have given you will now make it easier for you to understand this definition, and I bet that anyone reading this definition for the first time cannot conceive the right meaning of it. The definition of portfolio and program cannot be clear until and unless you have these concepts rightly measured and understood. Now look at the portfolio. My words will help you adjust to this definition. A portfolio is a collection of projects are programs and other work. Now, what the hell is this other work? Other work will always be, when there are more items, then they have to be grouped together. Other work is the program work. The portfolio work. Portfolio will also have to run. It has its own operation. You are running a big office with, analysts running around and, data moving here and there and, financial people doing something. From where are they being paid and what is the structure? Because देखा जाए तो basically the funding is for projects and programs. Who is funding portfolio? Portfolio को तो कोई fund नहीं कर रहा. But this other work has to be done by someone. Who will pay these staff? So and this is one of the problems that people don't understand. And in the case of PMO also, you said PMO, I'll talk about that. Running a PMO also is a big deal because a project management office does not earn any money by itself. It is a helping mechanism for projects and programs. So that mechanism will have to be paid. It consists of people and resources. So other work is normally referred to those things which is paid for performing the duties of portfolio, and this is the glue which binds all the work of the portfolio together. So why it is done? Taake, we can facilitate the effective management of that work to meet strategic business objectives. The projects or programs in the portfolio may not necessarily be interdependent or directly related. As you have already seen, that portfolio is one single big body which is encompassing all the projects and programs. So do you think all the projects and programs are also interrelated? They are not. There might be, having completely different objectives. Although they are aligned with the organization strategy, all of the projects and programs, but there might not be any relation, and there could be a relation also. So it is not necessary that portfolio will only have related projects or programs. So related definition was good enough for program, but for portfolio, they do not have to be from the same family. Portfolio management, what is it? Refers to the centralized management. Now, because we have got one office looking after all the project and program, is a centralized office of one or more portfolios, which includes, it might have sub portfolios. So those will be centralized at the main portfolio level. And their job is identifying, prioritizing, managing and controlling the projects, programs and other work. And which is this other work? The level is portfolio. Portfolio is other work. There is also other work in a program. That is program other work. Well, you can say administrative work of program. Administrative work of portfolio. So we call it other work. Okay. For what purpose? To achieve specific strategic business objectives. Portfolio management focuses on ensuring that projects and programs are reviewed to prioritize resource allocation. Portfolio will review all its projects and programs and keep looking at their needs, resources they need, and accordingly it will allocate the resources. You see, our resource allocation may be delegated to a project management office, but the strategic resources portfolio will like to control them. You have got a number of construction projects going on in your organization, and there is one bulldozer. There are at least 5 projects which need a bulldozer at a specific point in time, at the same time. Whom should you give the bulldozer? The activity, the project on which the activity is on critical path, or which is more important, or what?
critical path पर इनको justification बनती है.
Justification बनती है. पर critical path किसका है?
प्रोजेक्ट.
Are we talking about project? We are talking about strategy. We are talking about which project is more important to me rather than which project is on critical path. होता रहे critical path पे, maybe it is on the least importance list. जो prioritization हमने की है, that might be on the last number on the list. Why should I give him the resources? I will give resources to that project which is most beneficial to the organization. Investment decision making. So this has to be written, which is what is more important for you. Because we have done prioritization, so that's why this prioritization serves us to help in deciding the resource allocation, and that the management of the portfolio is consistent with and aligned to organization strategy. So this is that story of portfolio. The goals of the portfolio management is to maximize the value of the portfolio. Value we'll discuss later, but value is, you can say, what is the current value of the business. It means it's, all aspects of it. This is a running business, and then we have got a logo, we have got a name, we are giving it up to you. So that's how it is. So you can't, run something without bringing value. Maximize the value of the portfolio by careful examination of its components, the constituent projects, programs, and actually other related work within the portfolio. Now, what it decides for inclusion in the portfolio, and new projects desirous to get into the portfolio. So, which should be entertained, which should not be entertained, which should be included, which should not be included, and those projects were already running. Timely exclusion of projects not meeting or contributing least to the portfolio strategic objectives. If portfolio thinks that this project is no more valid, it is not serving our any purpose, and I can use this funding for another better project, then as soon as it is realized, this project or program must be shut down. Organization strategic plan becomes the primary factor guiding the investment in the project. This position, portfolio management, is normally manned by senior managers or senior management teams, typically take on the responsibility of portfolio management of an organization. So this is back-to-back connected with the organizational strategy. Okay, program, as I defined earlier, is a group of related projects managed in a coordinated way. They intercoordinate with each other. One project gives out something, second project takes it as an input, or even they can send out things from within the project. In the center of the project, something is coming out to going to project B and something like that. So program is a group of related entities managed in a coordinated way to obtain benefits. That is the key to everything. To obtain benefits and control not available from managing them individually. If all those projects could exist as an independent project, if they were managed separately, the benefit of coordinating them together and converting all of this into a benefit would not be there. Program may include elements of related work outside of the scope of the discrete projects in the program. You have got 20 projects. Every project has its own scope. This number one project will create a school. Number two project is going to construct a civic center. The third project is maybe constructing a bank. So all these things, first they all must be related. They all must be serving the same community or same larger advantage you want to give. Program may include elements of related work outside of the scope. So program scope is wider than the sum of all the project scopes, because it will not stop at the deliverable, or it is not the combination of all the deliverables. These deliverables are then to be turned into benefits, and this payoff will go on for quite some time. So program scope is wider than the project scope, and this is synergetic in nature. Yeah?
Sum total of the project scopes.
Is more than the sum total of the project scope, and this is where it capitalizes. A project may or may not be part of a program, but a program will always have projects. There could not be a program which doesn't have any project under it. Every program will definitely have project, but a project can exist independently. Program management is defined as a centralized but coordinated manner. Program management for all its subsequent projects and other work, this is a centralized body which also serves as a coordination headquarter for all these projects. So it is his domain. So this is centralized, coordinated management of a program to achieve program's strategic objectives and benefits. Projects within program are related through a common outcome and collective capability. So synergy has to create out of these projects being done in unison in a program. So there will be some benefits out of it. Focus on project interdependencies and helps to determine the optimal approach for managing them. Projects, how are they being interdependent and how can we best use them? In what combination these projects can be best used for the program? Following relationships qualified for portfolio management and not for program management. You see, when we make portfolio, IT portfolio, construction portfolio, what we have done, we have categorized various aspects, and each sub portfolio is dealing with a category. So if we have shared clientage, all of our projects have got a similar clientage, then that clientage is basically kind of is not an interrelationship. That is just a category. So this category is to be included in the portfolio. It could be made a separate portfolio.
Investment return would be realized over a shared client.
Yes. Yes.
That is why it is portfolio. It comes into the portfolio.
Well, yes, you're right. But what I'm trying to say is that because these projects may not be related, they may not have any coordination with each other. They are just of the same color, or they all belong to the same area, or they belong to a single industry. So I group them together and call them as a portfolio, not a program. Seller, all the projects for the same seller could be one group. So using the same technology could be one group. Using same resources could be one group. So this is how the portfolio or sub-portfolios could be created, but these are not the examples of a program. This is not programming. Project, you understand the definition, temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. And as we studied, this is to deliver. So the knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques applied to project activities to meet the project requirement. And project requirements, if you meet, you will deliver the deliverable. That is the objective of it. And we understand that later on we are going to study 47 different processes in 5 process groups and 10 knowledge areas. Now, this is the whole program management, organizational program management. You can go through the projects, program, and portfolios from the perspective of scope, change, planning, management, success, and monitoring. So I think I should close here. We will start from this, and you must read this slide yourself and try to understand it, and then we will differentiate how the definition of project, program and portfolio makes it easy for you to understand these things. Jisha Khan.
Okay, so we will read this slide and tomorrow we will start discussion on this.
Of course, of course.
Slide would be available.
आपको नहीं मिली हुई स्लाइडें अभी तक? Shahan, did I send you the link that day in chat window?
Yes, yes, sir. The slides are on the link and the videos are also there. We are being recorded now, sir.
Right. So I'll give you a link. I expected that you would have seen from the window, chat window. I've copied these two things there, and there you can access all the videos, all the material, everything. Right. So let's call it a day, rather a night, and let's meet tomorrow again. Thank you very much and take care, please.